In one of the season's biggest surprises, Huddersfield Town have made the playoffs. Here is how it happened. It's congratulations to Huddersfield, who are confirmed to finish, at the very least, in the Championship playoffs. Now, I opened up by calling this one of the season's big surprises. Why? Well, for the past few years, Huddersfield just haven't been very good. The Terriers were relegated from the Premier League in 2018-19 with just 16 points, the third worst ever total in the top flight. Unlike many relegated teams, Huddersfield couldn't count on that rocket fuel that is the parachute payments. That all got swallowed up as the club changed ownership from Dean Hoyle to Phil Hodgkinson in their first season down. Season 1 in the Championship ended with Danny Cowley, who replaced the faltering Jan Sieber early in the season, guiding Huddersfield to safety just 3 points above the relegation zone. For the second season, Huddersfield made a brave call. They got rid of Cowley, who had a lot of experience in the lower divisions of English football, and replaced him with 37-year-old Carlos Corberan, an assistant coach to Marcelo Bielsa over at Leeds. Corberan's Huddersfield avoided relegation by 5 points in his first season, but they did drop down 2 places, ending up in 20th in the table. Huddersfield had the worst goals against record in the entire division, and over the final 38 games, only Bristol City and Rotherham scored fewer points than Huddersfield. So you can see why a lot of people thought the direction of travel was downward, not upward. So that brings us to the start of this season and kind of tells us why very many people expected not very much. So how on earth have Huddersfield gone from 20th place with the worst defence in the league all the way up into the playoffs? All will be revealed in just a second. In the meantime, please hit that like button and support the video and the channel. Well, we'll start as ever with recruitment. Going right back, the sale of Carl and Grant was quite a big help, and Danny Cowley should be some credit for taking one of his former players, Harry Toffolo, from Lincoln across to Huddersfield, and he's been a mainstay there. Going back just one transfer window before this season, Sorba Thomas was an inspired signing from Boreham Wood, and just having that few months before this season to bed in really helped. But that leaky backline we've talked about, completely rebuilt in the summer. Nichols, new goalkeeper, experienced Championship centre-backs, Pearson and Lees coming in, and Chelsea, exciting youngster Levi Colwell on loan. Interest in Lewis O'Brien from the Premier League was battered away, and he signed a new deal in September when the window closed. On top of all that smart recruitment, I think the smartest thing Carlos Corberan did this season was almost to make the decision to flip the script a little, take the Championship for what it is, and do his own thing, and move away a little bit from some of the ideals that he'd learned from Marcelo Bielsa that we saw in the first season. Frankly, didn't really work. What he attempted was very noble and at times very nice to watch, but they were so open. 5 goals conceded against Blackburn and Bournemouth, and a very cringeworthy, hard to watch 7 conceded against Norwich. The need to toughen up and tighten up and specifically work on what the issues are in getting through a Championship season were very much understood by Coreberan, and that's been a very clever sea change we've seen from the young manager this season. It's a very sort of symmetrical start for Huddersfield. Won 8, lost 8, 4 draws, 4-23 against 23, but that put them up in 8th, just 4 points away from the playoffs, although we had seen Huddersfield have reasonable starts before and drop right off in the second half of the season. Sorba Thomas was massively standing out at the start of the season. He was player of the month in August, and he already had 8 assists by the time we got to October. What we were seeing was a new, kind of tougher looking Huddersfield, and those excellent set plays were starting to become a real threat. Huddersfield were already up at the top of those set play goals rankings, where they still remain to this very day. So this is where lots of us thought, right, here comes the slip down the table into mid-table or wherever for Huddersfield during December. No, absolutely not. From then on, Huddersfield embarked on a sensational 17-game undefeated streak. And the team that finished in 20th last season found themselves in second place with 9 games left on their calendar. The undefeated run ended with back-to-back defeats, including one against key rival Bournemouth, which put them in the box seat in terms of that automatic promotion race. We've also seen the emergence of Nottingham Forest. But look, that's a story for another day. We're talking about Huddersfield, and this latest result confirms it's going to be playoffs for the Terriers and confirmation of just a magnificent job by Carlos Corberan. The successful team this season, well, we've already mentioned the completely new goalkeeper and back three that we've brought in the summer. You've got a very good central midfield pairing, loads of experience in Hogg, and probably, along with Thomas, the most saleable asset in O'Brien. Toffolo one side, we mentioned Thomas, he's probably the star of the side in terms of creatively and picking those set plays in as well. And even people like returning freebie Danny Ward, he's the top scorer. Loneys, Daniel Sanani, and Josh Karoma as well, picked up from the lower divisions. This is a team built with not much money and with a lot of creativity. I want to hear from you guys down there in the comments. Let me know your assessment of how good a job Carlos Corberan has done this season. Let me know how you think Huddersfield would go in a playoff campaign, and I'm sure we're going to get some people want to talk about it. Could it get even better than playoffs for Huddersfield between now and the end of the season? Congratulations then once again to Huddersfield. They're going to be right up there in our conversation for the team of the season. And speaking of team of the season, I picked my individual team of the season the other day. You can check that out right there, and you might even find a Huddersfield central midfielder in the team.